Hello and welcome to the Critically Clueless. On TheMonk, today we are doing a review on Warhammer 40,000 Space Wolf. So this is a turn-based strategy card game. This was originally a mobile game, and last year the entire game got a major overhaul and was released on console. It was released on the Switch and the PlayStation and PC, and now it has finally been released on the Xbox as well. This has been developed and published by HeroCraft, who actually sent me a key for this game, so thank you very much for doing so. And it will set you back at around £15. Now, as I've already mentioned, this is a turn-based strategy game. The unique element within this game is that it is also a card game. So as you load into the beginning of the game, your squad, your player, he gets dealt 30 cards. He goes in with a deck of 30 cards, should I say, and within that deck, you will draw 6 cards. Now, it is RNG. If you haven't set that deck up right, you could draw 6 really bad cards and end up really struggling throughout the game. Now, these cards represent moves that you can do. When you start your turn, you get 2 AP. You can then use these cards to move across the battlefield and attack. Now, it's 1 AP per attack, 1 AP per move. There's no cover as such, so it's not a cover shooter, and you also have to count AP for turning your character. So if you have moved your character and you're no longer facing the direction in which an enemy is placed, unfortunately you're going to use another AP to have to move your character so it's actually facing somebody that you want to hit. Now, the cards itself were quite interesting to me. So originally this was a pay-to-win mobile game. From what I can tell, the way they've changed it is that it's all in-game now. You collect currency from the missions. As you go through the missions, the more currency you get, and then you can buy packs. You can buy a booster pack. You seem to get more money, or sorry, you seem to get better cards from the booster pack than you would crafting or forging a single card. But then you use those cards to build yourself a strong deck. Now, this game has a couple of different modes in it. It has a campaign mode, and it also has a challenge mode. So that way, when you are done with the main story, you still have something to do. Now, the main story itself is 4 acts. You've got a few different levels in each act. It's not the longest game I've ever played, but there is still a good amount of time that you can actually invest within this game. Now, I think the hardest thing to actually get your head around when playing this game, for anyone that's played turn-based games before, is the way this game does it with the cards. That for me took a little minute second to actually get my head around. Once I got it, this game's actually a really easy game. It also has a leveling system that you can, as you gain more levels, you can unlock new gear for your squad, which I quite like. There is a progression tree within this game. It's not exactly expansive. It does not going to take a great deal of time to get your head around, but I'm glad that it's actually in the game and is there to add a little bit more depth as well. Now, unfortunately, on the downside of this game, there is no real story mode. Now, I've played a good few hours today. I've got quite far into the game, and unfortunately there's no real story. It's all very rinse and repeat. Basically, at the end of the day, you crash land into this area and you have to kill everyone there. Sometimes you have to reach a spot, sometimes you have to survive a number of waves until, you know, a rescue pod comes down, and that's pretty much it. It's very rinse and repeat. However, the combat itself I did find quite enjoyable, and I did find satisfying as well. The controls, as in moving your character across the field, is a little bit clunky, but the cards themselves worked really well. You really do have to choose what cards you use when, because if you use the wrong card at the wrong time, it can seriously impact your game. I was, however, disappointed the fact that there was no voice acting whatsoever. It's all text based, which is absolutely fine, but I do feel with every single game that I play with no voice acting that it is going to be better if it was voice acted. I understand that this is on the lower end budget wise, but it would have been nice for there to have been at least something there. The feature that I was found most surprising was a little bit different to other turn-based strategy games, was the Overwatch itself. So the Overwatch works a little bit different. There wasn't actually a button to put my characters into Overwatch, more as if I leave them still with time. You get something called time in this game. Every card costs an X amount of time or an X amount of effort to use and play, and so if I left my character with effort left, he would then put that effort to use in putting himself into Overwatch. That way when someone moved close or activated my Overwatch, I would then get a good little sneaky hit in. Now unfortunately for this, it isn't the first or the only Warhammer turn-based strategy game. There was also Space Hulk Tactics, which was a lot more expensive than this game, and it was a lot better in graphics, gameplay and stuff like that. However, I did find that Space Hulk Tactics was a lot harder than this game. So if you are looking for a more casual turn-based RPG, you can just kind of sit down, enjoy the Warhammer side of it, the Warhammer elements of it, and go through the game like that. I found this game really enjoyable as a casual game. It's not very in-depth, it's not very deep, but you can spend a good few hours playing this game, gathering your cards up, building a half decent deck, and basically owning the battle. There are 3 different difficulties within this game that you can play on. However, something that I noticed is that the loot that you get per level doesn't seem to increase or decrease regardless of the level difficulty that you actually play on. So I would just play it on whatever you feel comfortable with. If you want something that's going to be a little bit harder, pump it up, and if you want to just enjoy the turn-based style of the game, then leave it as it is or even lower it. At the end of the day, it's not going to affect any of the loot that you get. It's just going to depend on how many times you're going to have to replay that level, because unfortunately this game is massively about that RNG, that 30 deck stack that you put together. If you get a bad draw, like I've already said, that can seriously mess up your game. But with all that being said, I'm going to give this game a 6 out of 10. Now, this game is lacking in some key areas, but I think with the length of the game, the price, the fact that it was so easy to actually sit down and play, and the sheer fact that I enjoyed the game, it's worth a play if you like this sort of thing. If you're into Warhammer games, if you're into turn-based tactic games, pick it up, have a go. But if you're looking for something a little bit more in-depth, then maybe have a look at something else. But guys, if you've enjoyed this review, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts down below. What's the best Warhammer game that you've played in recent times? Now, me personally, I've started playing a lot of the Warhammer games. I love Warhammer games. The best Warhammer game I've ever played, that is a tough one, and the jury is still out. But let me know your thoughts down below. But until next time, guys, I'll see you later. And for all of you guys that have stuck to the very end of the video, a big thank you to you, and of course, by now you should know what to do. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next video.